Good morning, second grade team. Yesterday during our evening planning, I brought you a minute-by-minute lesson plan for your week 2, day 1, and it's my understanding that you're going to use that lesson plan for Thursday. Now, for Friday, for day 2, you're going to use the same story as your launch. So I'm looking at Maria Celebrates Brazil, and remember in our plans we went through and we pre-taught a couple of the vocabulary words. Since you're again going to be in the iReady lab during your vocabulary development, you're going to on Friday want to incorporate the rest of those words in meaningful activities and also do a review of the other words that you pre-taught on Thursday. That was your language, plead, scurries, and fair. You'll follow through with those, and then you're going to add on share, invited, culture, and aside, and making it a meaningful activity for the students. Looking at, again, this paper where it says week 2, it's going to give you your 3 stories, and it's going to give you your activities. I know at the end of this week, my culminating writing activity to response and reading is how do authors use that story structure. So we're looking at story structure. So Maria Celebrates Brazil, they have a great writing response. Use evidence from the text to explain how Maria's family is similar or different from other families you know. Well, on Thursday, they're doing that Venn diagram comparing their family to Maria's family. So now you have that as a model. Now, I know that you modeled on the chart paper comparing your family to Maria's family. I think since the students don't know the expectation for writing yet, I think what you're going to want to do as a whole class is you're going to have your Venn diagram up on the wall, and you're going to, before class, write out your exemplar second grade text comparing your family to Maria's family. Now, this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want it to look like what your students are going to do. So you need, as a team, to look at what is the second grade expectation for a response to language arts, and you're going to write yours in that format and use that as your launch pad to teach. Now, many of your students will be able to listen to that mini lesson, look at how you did it, and they'll be able to use that as their model. Now remember, you have those non-readers sitting in your classroom. Those non-readers are going to need help. So once you do the mini lesson, get everyone situated, you're going to pull those non-readers to the side, and you're going to have a small group activity where you're going to have to walk them through this. So that will be what your Friday should look like. Now, that's day 1 and 2. You still have days 3, 4, and 5, and that's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You need to look at this page, and I know that your next anchor text is the big red lollipop. Each page is 35 to 55, and that an extended closed reading lesson is available if you want it. And if this is the option selected, you're going to have to modify the comprehension lessons and do not use the paired text. So if you do the big red lollipop as a closed reading, you're not going to do the third paired text. You're just going to do the big red lollipop, and it's going to take you throughout those next 3 days. If you choose to not do the closed reading, then you're going to also do a look at families. So as a team, you need to look at this ahead of time before Friday, or before you go home on Friday, and decide as a team which selection you're going to do. Now, these writing and responses to readings, these text-dependent questions, if you are using them, you can get grades with those. Those are things that you're going to pull for grades. I know that question was, what do I grade? You can grade all of the activities that are assessing the skill you teach. So if you are teaching them to compare and contrast yourself to Maria's family, you're going to use that as your assessment and use that as your grade. So before you go home on Friday as a team, you need to decide which option you're going to do for the second text. Are you going to do Big Red Lollipop as a closed reading? If so, you're not going to use a look at families. So decide together what those are going to look like. You're also going to want to look at the end of the week assessment and see if any of those questions align with what you're teaching, and have that ready to go as well, because that would be given on Wednesday. So before you go home this weekend, you're going to want to touch base with each other so you can plan out the next 3 days. I hope this helps. And I can't wait to see what happens in your class on Thursday.